Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams to everybody. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. We're on the 24th of February, Saturday, 2024, and it's the Avirbhava, the appearance day of our beloved Narottam das Thakur, and we'll hear something for a short while, and then we'll continue our Jaiva Dharma study, chapter 12, and we'll sing a bhajan first. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya O Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya O Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari O Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari O Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari O Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare O Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo. Oh, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Goda Hari Bol, Nitai Goda Hari. Oh, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai. Oh, Jaya Sachi Nandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachi Nandan, Jaya Gaura Hari. Oh, Gaura He, 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 Gaura He. Oh, Jaya Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radhe. Oh, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Oh, Radhe, 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 Radhe. Jai Shri Guru Garanga Ganhabhika Giridhari, Radha Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Shri Nityananda Rai Ki Jai, Satchinandana Gaudahari Ki Jai, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotara Shishimat, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotara Shishimat, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotara Shishimat, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotara Shishimat, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Srila Gaurikishodas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Vaishnav Sabhavama Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan Gaudi Vedantacharya Ki Jai. Jai Srila Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Treya Ki Jai. Srila Narottam das Thakur Avirbhava Ki Jai. Jai Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai. Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shri Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu Mahaprabhu's ki jai. Jai Swarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Gauda Padasada ki jai. Namacharya Srila Narottam Thakur ki jai. Prem Siga Holsi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasati Shri Gauda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Antadvip Mayapur Simantadvip Gaudamdvip Madhyadvip Koladvip Ritadvip Janadvip Motandvip Rudadvip Atmaka Navadvip Dham ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dwarasa Vadmatmika Shri Brajamandal ki jai. Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund Shri Ganga Devi Jamuna Devi Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Brinda Devi Maharani ki jai, Shrimati Punamasi Devi Yogamaya ki jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra ki jai, Ketra Mandal ki jai, Sarva Vigna Vinashakari Shina Shingadev Bhagavan ki jai, Bhakta Prava Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Chari Dham ki jai, Chari Sampradaya ki jai, Chari Acharya ki jai, Akada Mataraj ki jai, Shri Keshavji Gaudiya Mat ki jai, Shri Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Vata Vrinda ki jai. Gauda Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Agina Timirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Gurave Gauda Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha Priya Swarupe Daita Swarupe Prema Swarupe Sahajabi Rupe Nijana Rupe Prabhueka Rupe Tatana Rupe Swavilasa Rupe Anapita Chirim Chirat Kurunavartinokalo Samarpaitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundarata Dikatam Basadipita Sadahridare Kandare Spuratu Vasachinandanaha Yam Pravajantam Anapetyam Apeti Krityam Dvaipaino Viraha Kadara Ajuhava Putreti Tam Mayatayo Taravo Vinidustam Sarvabhutam Hridim Munimanatoshmi Bhaktya Vina Aparara Lakshay Shiptascha Karmadi Tarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Brinde Namaste Charana Ravindam Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Baradram Tato Mamanasti Katyana Kapi Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaivina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Nayamam Charantikam. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions and millions of times unto the lotus feet of our beloved Nityalila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And again, I'm offering my Dandavat pranams millions of times unto the lotus feet of our beloved Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidanandanamane Gauda Shakti Swarapaya Rupanuga Vrayate, and all our illustrious Rupanuga Guru Vargya and all the Vaishnav and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhavyevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnave Namaha. So today is the Avirbhava, the appearance day of our beloved Srila Narottam das Thakur, who's such a great contributor to this Gaudiya line, manifesting from the heart of Srila Rupa Goswami, empowered all by Srimati Radhika. Narottam Das was born in Ketchuri, which is today Bangladesh. It's north of Ramkeli, just across the border into Bangladesh. And he was born the son of a king, so he was a prince. Lived a very opulent early childhood life. But eventually he escaped that palace of his father and came to Vrindavan Dham. And there he took shelter of Jiva Goswami Pad. And then he was inspired to take shelter of Lokanath Goswami. And Lokanath had vowed never to accept a disciple, but Narottam melted his heart by cleaning the place where he would perform his ablutions daily. And Lokanath Goswami caught him, and Narottam was requesting fervently for initiation, and Lokanath said, "You're a son of a prince. You are a prince. How can you come and live in such a austere place?" But he accepted Narottam, and then Narottam stayed for a while. Then there's the beautiful pastime, which we've often discussed, where a farmer came to beg for some water or a bucket to get some water, and Lokanath Maharaj Goswami was immersed in his bhajan and didn't even see the farmer. But Narottam wasn't immersed in bhajan and helped that farmer get water. And when Lokanath Goswami came out of his meditation, he was aware of what Narottam had done, and he expelled him from his ashram, saying he wasn't qualified, he wasn't focused. Why was he spending time helping a farmer when he was engaged in his eternal service to Radha and Krishna? This was like an aparad. You're engaged in eternal service to Radha and Krishna, and you're having their reciprocation, and you suddenly break it, and you to attend to something material, even though it was a compassionate mood that he was doing it in. So he was expelled from that ashram, and then he went back to Jiva Goswami, greatly lamenting. But it's described that Lokanath Goswami understood that Narottam had a greater work to do than just to remain in exclusive bhajan. So Jiva Goswami, Narottam was under his tutelage along with Srinivasacharya and Shyamananda Prabhu. The three of them were completely together. This is the second wave, second generation of Mahaprabhu's associates. The first was the six Goswamis plus Krishnadas Kaviraj. And then come Narottam, Srinivas, and Shyamananda. And they were like together studying Jiva Goswami and all the Shastras. Jiva Goswami was the Mahant of Vrindavan at that time. He was compiling all the books of Srila Rupa Goswami that he had already proofed, etc. He had already collated. And he was helping Gopal Bhatta and compile the books of Sanatan Goswami. So when all these books were compiled, they were all written up in copies, and they were sent on a wagon, the three of them, Srinivas, Shyamananda, and Narottam, to Bengal to carry these books to the Vaishnavas here in Bengal. And as we know the story, it got waylaid by one king, Veera Hamba, and he stole the books, and Narottam left Srinivasacharya. Srinivasacharya was in charge of the party, so Srinivasacharya stayed there in that kingdom, and Shyamananda, he proceeded to the border of Orissa and then down into Orissa. Shyamananda was born just on the border of Orissa, so his Oriyan was very fluent. And Narottam, he went back to the north, where he was actually came from, and they all began to propagate this sacred teachings of Mahaprabhu in their own language. Narottam was speaking the Bengali dialect. They were all speaking Bengali, but in Shyamananda he was speaking Oriyan, because previously the six Goswamis, they had written everything in Sanskrit, because Sanskrit language you can really convey the heart and the mood of these very esoteric topics, but in Bengali it's somewhat restricted. So Narottam, he was preaching extensively there. And it's described that one time Srila Gokishoras Babaji Maharaj was asked how to do bhajan. He said, you go to the marketplace with 5 anna. An anna is practically like less than anything. It's like a paisa. And you purchase 2 books. You purchase Prem Bhakti Chandrika and you purchase Pratana, both by Narottam das Thakur. And then you will understand what is bhajan. So today I wanted to read just any poem. I'm just going to open randomly and see what beautiful bhajan Narottam Das wants us to hear today. This is from a very beautiful book, Pratna, and all of his. It's described in the beginning. There's actually 3 stages of Narottam's writings. There's Sampard Amika, which is a prayer with wholehearted submission of mind, body, and everything to the Lord. This is the mood of Narottam all the way through, just only heart. His longings of his heart is what he's expressing in his fervent devotion to Krishna. This is why his prayers, and he had a very special style of singing, and he created the most incredible melodies that had never been heard before to match this mood of lalasamai, this mood of longing in his heart for service to the Supreme Lord. So this Sampradamatika is a prayer with wholehearted submission of mind, body, and everything. And there's a verse in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu expressing this mood. And it's, "O my Lord, as the minds of young boys and girls remain attached to one another, please let my mind be attached to you." This fervent hankering to be attached to the lotus feet of Krishna. Because Narottam is presenting himself, he's Champak Manjari. This is who he is. Shyamananda is Kanak Manjari. And Srinivas is Mani Manjari. They are all Manjaris, because we've spoken before about this line only being Manjari Bhav. So Mani Manjari and Kanak Manjari are Shyamananda and Srinivas, and Narottam is Champak Manjari. So the second mood is called Dainya Bodhika, or making known one's insignificance and worthlessness. And in the Bhakti Rasamrita, there's a verse to support this. It says, "O Purushottam, in this world there is no sinner and offender like me, even though even though you are an ocean of causeless mercy, I am ashamed even to request you to forgive my offenses. What more shall I say?" How beautiful. It's like Krishna's Kaviraj says that even if you hear his name, you will be committing aparad. This is what he says in his humility. He says, "I am lower than a worm in stool." This extreme humility should be appreciated in these most advanced devotees, because they've seen the pristine nature of that spiritual kingdom. And when you see that nature, then you realize in relationship to that your complete insignificance. And then the third is called Alasamai. And these are prayers yearning for a personal service of the Lord. So there's a verse here. It's saying, "O Pundariksha, lotus-eyed Lord, when upon the bank of Yamuna, with eyes brimming with tears of ecstasy and voice choked up with divine spiritual emotion, will I chant your holy names and dance like a madman." So these three different moods, mind, body, and soul in submission to the Lord, and then Doinatmika, this mood of utter uselessness, utter helplessness. We heard this morning this utter helplessness. And then the third is this intense longing. So I'm just going to pick one at random. So here we have song 18. Because all the songs have the same moods. These three moods, they're covering these three moods. He's saying, "When will the auspicious moment come when Sri Rupa Manjari will accept me as her maidservant? When she will order me, saying, 'Quickly, make arrangement for the service of Sri Radha and Krishna.' With joyful mood and pure mind, I will immediately execute that order. Taking the ingredients for their service on a golden plate, along with scented water in a perforated water pot, I will immediately take them to their lordships, Sri Sri Radha and Krishna." Thus Narottam yearns for such a situation. His whole mood is yearning. Your heart becomes anxious when you read his prayers, anxious for the dedicated seva, the dedicated focused seva of Narottam. So he shared this mood with the whole world. And today we are celebrating his extraordinary contribution to this Gaudiya mission, this mission of Rupa Goswami. Without this hunger, without this greed, this lalasamai, this longing to be in service to the Lord, in confidential arrangement with the Lord in the pastime kunjas of Sri Vrindavan, our bhajan will not proceed. So we need the mercy of Narottam das Thakur. Narottam das Thakur ki jai, Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. There are so many things to say about Narottam das Thakur, but I wanted to come back to our Jaiva Dharma today to complete this 12th chapter. So yesterday we read the last, I don't think it's working, Gokul. There's no light on it. I'll have to read it. So we read the last 4 verses, but I'm going to read the last 4 verses again, because today I think we're going to complete the chapter, and today is Saturday. So on Monday we'll begin a new chapter, and we'll start from text 1 of the Falshruti. So today we'll just reiterate. It doesn't matter if we read them 100 times, every single day the same prayer. These are beautiful Falshruti. So, Jaiva Dhamma pate se Shura Bhakti hoy, Jaiva Dhamma na padile kabe bhakti noy. One who reads Jaiva Dharma with faithful deliberation will surely attain Shuddha Bhakti, but one who does not read Jaiva Dharma can never attain Bhakti. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has fulfilled all the desires of all the Goswamis. He's giving us the complete conclusion of all Shastra. If we don't read this Jaiva Dharma, how are we going to proceed? Rupanuga Abhiman Pate Drita Hoy, Jaiva Dhamma Vimukake Dharma Hine Koi. Faithfully reading Jaiva Dharma will surely strengthen one's Abhiman as a Rupanuga, follower of Rupa Goswami. One who is averse to reading Jaiva Dharma is certainly devoid of religious principles. If we're not following Rupa Goswami, we're devoid of religious principles. Religious principles means the purest principle, not the material aspect of religion, etc. This is like not going to take us to transcendence. This will take us to some type of sectarian group, like the Smarta Brahmins, etc., or some religious group or something like that. We're not in that sectarian mood at all. Yava jivane jay pade jaiva dharma, bhaktiman se jana brita jnana karma. One who faithfully reads Jaiva Dharma throughout his entire life will be endowed with bhakti and will surely realize the futility of gyan and karma. This is what we're understanding from this 12th chapter. Definitely, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is opening out the futility. Yesterday we went through Swagaloka and its uselessness for our transcendental progress. We've been going through Gyan, liberation. That is not going to give us the final conclusion. So Gyan and Karma must be eliminated. Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. Krishnera Ramala Seva Labi Senara Seva Sukhi Magnaraha Sada Krishna Para. Such a man, being fully devoted to Sri Sri Radha Krishna Yugal Kishore and having attained that Amal Prem Seva, remains forever merged in the bliss of such immaculate, loving service. This is the final conclusion. If we follow this carefully, we'll remain immersed in the bliss of this immaculate, loving service to the Lord, to our lordships. So we're on page 273, and we read this yesterday, but I said I wanted to read it again just to emphasize it. So basically, Babaji has been answering the doubts in Brajanath's mind about various Mayavad perspectives on the absolute truth. And he's been so beautifully reconciling them. First of all, he was talking about this Tattvam Asi Svetaketu and various what he calls Mahavakyas. But now we're going to discuss the reality of these Mahavakyas. So in the middle of page 273, Brajanath is asking the questions. The mantras that I quoted are principal statements of the Vedas, known as Mahavakyas. How can the Sadhya and Sadhan that they put forward possibly be extraneous? Understand, when we read something like this, Brajanath from birth, Brahman, trained, has brought up to believe all his life that these are Mahavakyas. This is a great change in consciousness for him to receive this transcendental knowledge and have that misconception purified. We have to empathize with the history of Brajanath, where he's come from, and what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is demonstrating here. Babaji, the Vedic statements you quoted just a moment ago are not described as Mahavakyas anywhere in the Vedas, nor have they been described as superior to other statements. Teachers of Gyan have proclaimed that these statements are Mahavakyas in order to establish the preeminence of their own doctrine. They're banging their own drum. You understand? But in reality, Pranav, Om, is the only Mahavakya. All other Vedic statements relate only to particular aspects of Vedic knowledge. We were listening this morning to Prem Prayojan tell us the conclusion of this Jaiva Dharma is the highest Siddhanta. This is the Siddhanta that we're reading now. This is the Siddhanta that Bhaktivinoda Thakur has come to establish. He's come to purify all these different misconceptions. There are powerful misconceptions here that he's clarifying. Just in a few lines, every single sentence, he's cutting these misconceptions that have arisen, that have clouded the perfect path of the Vaishnava Dharma, which would be tragic for the Vaishnava Dharma to go into the future with these misconceptions there, right? It would just completely deform it. Like we know in other religions, if there's misconceptions there, they just get exaggerated as time goes along. All other Vedic statements relate only to particular aspects of Vedic knowledge. It's Vedic knowledge. This is the Siddhanta. What is the Vedic knowledge? Not what some individual has picked out as, oh, this is it or that's it. They're calling it Mahavakyas to try and get support for their personal doctrine. Sankaracharya. It would not be incorrect to refer to all the statements of the Vedas as Mahavakyas. Well, that's very powerful. All the statements of the Vedas are Mahavakyas. However, it is dogmatic to single out one particular statement of the Vedas as the Mahavakya and to label all others as ordinary. What does dogmatic mean exactly?
Fixed to a singular conception.
Yes, very good definition. Fixed to a singular conception. Dogmatic. Fixed to a singular conception. They're not ready to, there's no broadness in their vision at all. So this is what we,
this as the truth.
And that's it. We also accept, the complete Siddhanta as the truth, but that truth is very broad, and that truth is applicable to all jivas. All jivas, jivara surup hoi krishnera nitita, have the same relationship with the Lord in the sense of servant, service to the Lord. So this is across the board for everybody. It's not sectarian because everyone has service to the Lord. Because sometimes, we think, well, we are saying we are right, and we are. But how is that correct? We are supporting Sanatan Dharma, which means the eternal. This is what we cleared in the very first chapter, describing what is Dharma. Because Sannyasi Thakur, he says that there are so many teachers answering what is the nature of Dharma, and they're quite different. It becomes confusing. And then Babaji goes into a whole discussion on what is pure Dharma. What are the three Vastus? That's Krishna, Maya, and the Jiva. And what is the relationship between the three? This is pure Dharma because it's relative to everybody. It's not sectarian. There has to come a point when we know there's lots of fake, but there has to be the real one. There has to be the real one. You understand? Is it conclusive that we have the absolute truth, but we're not dogmatic about it also. We're dogmatic about certain aspects of the truth in the fact that we're all servants of Krishna. But what it's relating to here is a singular doctrine and a singular statement that they are calling Mahavakyas to support that doctrine separately to the rest of the Vedas. All of the Vedas have to be included, to be appreciated, to have it properly understood. Those who do so are committed an offense to the Vedas. I'll read that last part. However, it is dogmatic to single out one particular statement of the Vedas as the Mahavakya and to label all others as ordinary. Those who do so are committing an offense to the Vedas. The Vedas describe many extraneous goals. We've discussed that. Karma, go to Swagaloka. Yes, it's good for you if that's your adhikar. Gyan Yoga, yes, study for moksha. Yes, it's good if that's your adhikar. So they'll be propounding that. But that's only part. The Vedas describe many extraneous goals and the means to attain them. So they sometimes praise karma kand and sometimes mukti. But in the ultimate analysis, the Vedas conclude that bhakti alone is both sadhan and sadhya. Oh, Gopal. I mean, just speak loudly. The Vedas are like a cow, and Sri Nandanandan is the milkman. In the Bhagavad Gita, he has revealed the purport of the Vedas regarding their ultimate aim. Louder, louder. Tapasvidyo deko yogi. Louder. You can speak loudly.
Tapasvibhyo diko yogi jnanibhyopi mato dikha karmibhyaschada chadikyo yogi tasmad yogi bhavarjuna yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmanam shraddhavan bhajate yo mam sa me yuktamato matah.
O Arjuna, a yogi is greater than all types of ascetics, fruitive workers, and those who cultivate impersonal knowledge aiming at liberation. Therefore, become a yogi, and I consider that the greatest of all yogis is one who is attached to me with firm faith and who constantly worships me with full expression of the heart. It is also said in the Svetashvarta Upanishad 6:23.
Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha gurau tasyeta katita hi artat prakashatma mahatmanah.
All the confidential purports of the Vedas are fully revealed to that great soul who has the same parabhakti for his Gurudev as he has for Sri Bhagavan. This is essential. But it's still not a Mahavakya. It's part of the whole Vedic teaching. It is said in the Gopal Tapani Upanishad, Purva Vibhag 2:2,
Bhaktirasya bhajanam tad ihamritopadi nairasyena aivasmin manasa kalpanam etad evacha naishkarbhyam.
Bhakti performed for the pleasure of Sri Krishna is known as bhajan. Bhakti performed for the pleasure of Sri Krishna is known as bhajan. This means to give up all desires for enjoyment in this world and the next, to dedicate one's mind unto Krishna, and to develop a feeling of complete unity with him because of an overwhelming sense of prem. If we love Krishna, we only want to please him. This bhajan also entails freedom from all result-orientated activity. What's that? Savai pumsam parodama yato bhakti ahoitiki apratihata. And this will satisfy the soul. Yeyatma supersediti. It will satisfy the supersoul. If supersoul is satisfied, then your soul will be satisfied. We are endeavoring to satisfy the supersoul. The supersoul is a witness, antaryami. The supersoul doesn't interfere with our independence at all. It cannot. It's not allowed. Its dharma is not to interfere. But when that transcendental jiva makes contact with his self in loving service, then that Paramatma, which while Sadguru is on the planet, Guru will take the place of Paramatma. Guru will be directing in the heart. And when Guru physically leaves this world, then again Paramatma will enter the heart. My Gurudev has described like this. It is said in the Brihat Aranya Upanishad,
Atmanam eva priyam upashita.
one should worship the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna as the dearest object of one's affection. He's expressing what is bhakti now. He hasn't explained bhakti to Brajanath yet. Now these verses are explaining through the Shastras what is the nature of Shuddha bhakti. How distinct is it from karma and gyan? Understand? In the Brihat Aranyaka Upanishad, it is also said,
Atma va are drishtavya, shrotavya, mantavya, niridet yastitvyah.
O Maitreyi. Maitreyi is not Maitreya, it's the wife of Maitreyi. One should see, hear about, think of, and meditate upon the supreme absolute truth, Paramatma. He's speaking to his wife here. When one studies these Vedic statements carefully, it is clear that bhakti is the best form of sadhana. He doesn't really have to convince Brajnath. Brajnath's already halfway there. But what's the vital ingredient here? It's that Shuddha Bhakta who's relating all these truths into the heart of Brajanath. It's the guru connection. Raghunath Das Babaji is acting as the guru of Brajanath. He's instructing him. So through that relationship, Brajanath will easily be able to understand. If he just read these topics singularly, like if we just read Jaiva Dharma on our own without connection to guru, if we're not purifying the consciousness by chanting, etc., by doing the other directives, we will not understand these topics. They'll just float over our heads. It's true. Brajanath, the Karmakand section of the Vedas gives instructions to perform bhakti to Ishvara, who bestows the results of all action. In the Gyan-Kand section, we also find instructions to satisfy Hari by performing bhakti through the medium of 4 types of sadhan, known as sadhan chatushtaya. So how can bhakti be the sadhya if it is the means to obtain bhakti and mukti? Bhukti and mukti, sorry. Since bhakti is the means, it ceases to exist when it produces bhukti and mukti. This is the general principle. Please educate me on this question. Do you understand the question? Tell me. What do you understand?
When the process, when you do the process, it ends when you get the result.
Yes.
So how can that be the goal as well as the process?
Yes. Very good. Very good, Gokul. So, if the process is to attain a certain goal, when you've attained that goal, then that's the end of the process. But we don't see that. The karma yogi is still dissatisfied. He hasn't satisfied his heart. That karma yogi is like the example of bhukti. It's not completely satisfying. Still, that fire of desire is burning. And then when you follow the path of Gyan Kand, still in that place of moksha, you've incinerated the opportunity to develop a relationship with Krishna. So ultimately, it's not totally satisfying either. So in both cases, you haven't reached the final sadhya, because neither conclusion is going to give you that yayatma suprasidati. It's not going to give you satisfaction of the soul, neither karma yoga or gyan yoga. We'll see what Babaji says. It is true that performing the regulated practices, sadhan, of bhakti in karma kand gives material enjoyment, and bhakti sadhan performed in gyan kand gives mukti. Yes, it does. If you perform this as karma mishra bhakti or gyan mishra bhakti. Understand, these are the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. One cannot achieve any result without satisfying Parameshwara, and he is only satisfied by bhakti. If Parameshwara is not satisfied, you won't be satisfied. I just explained that verse, Yeyatma Suprasidati, because when I first read that verse, I was understanding, oh, when I am satisfied, Yeyatma Suprasidati, this will satisfy me. But my Gurudev said, no, This will satisfy Supersoul. And if Supersoul is satisfied, then your transcendental self will be satisfied beyond the material self. Understand? This is why he said like that. He is the reservoir of all potencies, and whatever potency is found within the jivas is within inert matter, or within inert matter is only an infinitesimal display of his potency. Karma and Gyan cannot satisfy Ishvara. We can say in one sense Ishvara is like the Supersoul. Karma and Gyan give a result only with the help of Bhagavat Bhakti. We have to have Bhakti to support even the path of Karma Kand and Gyan Kand. Bhakti must be there. Like Vedavyas, he was immersed in bhakti, the Bhakti process, but he was only writing about Karma Kand and Gyan Kand until he met Narad, until he had that understanding fully that everything is coming from Guru. Guru is the same as Krishna. Yasya Prasad, Bhagavat Prasad, the same, non-different. They are incapable of producing a result independently. Karma Yoga can't independently produce a result. Gyan Yoga can't independently. It must be dependent on Bhakti. Therefore, it is seen that there is an arrangement for some performance of a semblance of Bhakti or Karma and Gyan. What did I say? For some performance of a semblance of Bhakti in Karma and Gyan. However, this is not Shuddha Bhakti. Rather, it is only Bhakti Abhas. Accordingly, the Bhakti seen in Karma and Gyan is a mere semblance of devotion, not Shuddha Bhakti. When we say Karma Mishra Bhakti or Gyan Mishra Bhakti, this is Bhakti Abhyas. This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur was talking about. It is this Bhakti Abhas that is instrumental in bringing forth the results of those pursuits. They perform Bhakti Abhas and they purified that and come to the conclusion of their karmic practice or their Gyan practice, and it will lead to Bhakti. There are two types of Bhakti Abhas, Shuddha Bhakti Abhas, pure, and Vida Bhakti Abhas, adulterated. I shall describe pure Bhakti Abhas later, but for the present you should know that there are three types of adulterated Bhakti Abhas. These are Bhakti Abhas adulterated with fruitive action. That's Karma Mishra Bhakti. Bhakti Abhas adulterated with monistic knowledge. And that's Gyan Bhakti. And Bhakti Abhas adulterated with both fruitive action and monistic knowledge. While a person is performing a yajna, he may say, O Indra, O Pusana, the Devata of the sun, please be merciful and give us the results of this yajna. All activities exhibiting a semblance of bhakti adulterated with this type of desire are known as a semblance of bhakti adulterated with fruitive action. He wants something. He wants some fruit. It's karma kand. Some magnanimous souls have referred to this type of adulterated bhakti as devotion mixed with fruitive action. Karma Mishra Bhakti. So this is clearly described in Bhagavad Gita in the first 6 chapters, in chapter 4, 5, and 6. Others have described it as activities to which the symptoms of bhakti are indirectly attributed. Arope Siddha Bhakti. We understand Arope Siddha Bhakti. Arope Siddha Bhakti is that bhakti that, for example, I love to do gardening and I'll happen to offer the produce to Krishna. I love to paint and I'll happen to offer the product to Krishna. I love music and I'll happen to offer it to Krishna. But my love first is some karmic consideration, not it's not, my object is not devotion from the beginning. I love to cook, so I'll cook for Krishna. No, this is Arope Siddha Bhakti, understand? It's Sakam Karma Bhakti. Another person may say, O Yadunandan, I have come to you out of fear of material existence. I chant your name, Hare Krishna, day and night. Please grant me liberation. O Supreme Lord, you are Brahm. I have fallen into the trap of Maya. Please deliver me from this entanglement and let me merge in oneness with you, crying for liberation. These sentiments are a semblance of bhakti adulterated with monistic knowledge. Some magnanimous souls have described this as devotion mixed with monistic knowledge, Gyan Mishra Bhakti. This is one of the propositions that Rai Ramananda puts towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's Gyan Mishra Bhakti. It's external. Yeah, and others as activities to which the symptoms of bhakti are indirectly attributed, arope siddha bhakti. These adulterated forms of devotion are different from Shuddha Bhakti. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is so kind. He's purifying the whole conception of what is Shuddha Bhakti. It's pristine purity. It doesn't have any adulteration in it. When we understand how it's adulterated, we can understand how it's pure. So this is described as the Tatashta Lakshan. This is the negative aspect. And then it's going to describe the Swarup Lakshan, which is the positive.
Does Arope's Siddha Bhakti eventually get purified?
That's the idea. If you're offering your produce from the garden to Krishna, eventually you will get mercy from Krishna for that activity. And that mercy will come in the form of recognition that Krishna is the priority, not your gardening. Ultimately, you will get pleasure from serving Krishna and realize this is actually nicer than the pleasure I'm getting from just digging in the garden. You understand? It is said in Gita 6:47, Shraddhavan bhajate yomam. I consider that one who worships me with faith is the best of all yogis. That's the conclusion of the Karmakand section. 647 is practically the end of the Karmakand section. It's in the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. The bhakti to which Sri Krishna is referring in this statement is Shuddha Bhakti. And this is our sadhan. When it is perfected, it is prem. Karma and Gyan are the means to obtain bhukti and mukti respectively. They are not the means by which the jiva can obtain his nitya siddha bhav, or eternal constitutional position of divine love. You got that? It's really clear. Bhaktivinoda Thakur just writes the deepest, most subtle conclusions in such a simple manner that even the most fallen condition, I was going to say Western conditioned souls, because we are the most fallen. We're not even born in any Varnashram system. We are Antyaja. We were outside, beyond the Varnashram system. We have nothing to be proud about. Actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says in the Bhagavad Gita in one commentary, he thinks that those devotees who were born in the Western world were previously like smarta Brahmins and became very proud, so they had to take birth in the Western countries to purify that pride. So we should find it easy to feel that we are on the bottom. And if you're on the bottom, you can't go any further. So that's a good place to be. When Brajanath had heard all these conclusive truths, he was unable to make further inquiries that day. Instead, he reflected within himself. The examination and discussion of all these subtle philosophical truths is superior to the dialectical analysis of Nyaya Shastra. Dialectical analysis of Nyaya Shastra. Babaji Mahashai is vastly learned in these matters. I will gradually acquire knowledge by inquiring from him about these topics. It is quite late, so I should return home now. So you see this seed of bhakti that he's planted in the heart of Brajanath? Brajanath didn't really have that seed of bhakti till he came into this conversation with Raghunath Das. Raghunath Das has purified his Nyaya dialectical, analytical misconceptions. And he's planted the seed of bhakti, of devotion to Krishna. That means his whole world is going to actually evolve and change. Thinking thus, he said, Babaji Mahashai, today by your mercy I have received essential, superior knowledge. I would like to come to you from time to time to receive this type of instruction. You are a deeply realized scholar and a great teacher. Please be merciful to me. Without the mercy, nothing will transpire. Kindly permit me to ask you just one more question today, since it is already late, and I will return home when I've heard your answer. Did Sachinandan Gauranga write any book in which all of his instructions can be found? If he did, I am anxious to read it. So his attachment for Mahaprabhu is being shown here to Raghunath Das. Babaji Mahashaya replied, Sriman Mahaprabhu did not write any book of his own, but his followers wrote many books on his order. Mahaprabhu personally gave the Jivas 8 instructions in the form of aphorisms, named Shikshastakam. These are like a necklace of jewels for the bhaktas. In these 8 shlokas, he has imparted the instructions of the Vedas, the Vedanta, the Upanishads, and the Puranas in a concise and confidential manner, as if keeping a vast ocean in a single pitcher. So the entire Shikshastakam contains absolutely everything. But we need those Mahabhagavats to open it out for us and to show us what is within these prayers. These Shikshastakam prayers are everything. Based on these confidential instructions, the Bhaktas have composed 10 fundamental principles known as Dasamula. He is the Bhakta that's composed this Dasamula. Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself has composed this. Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself is a repository of all these Siddhantas, fully. And he himself has composed these 10 ontological truths. This Dasamula succinctly describes both sadhya and sadhan with reference to the topics of sambandha, abhideya, and prayojan. You should understand this first. These 3 stages. Sambandha is the relationship initially with Krishna and the bhaktas, serving the Vaishnavas. That is essential to establish. And then is the abhideya, the path to achieve the goal. Therefore, you must know the goal that you're trying to achieve. You must know that it's Amala Prem Seva. And then that Prem Tattva itself, which describes that very esoteric connection with service to Sri Radha and Krishna, that Amal Prem Seva. You should understand this verse. Whatever you order, it is my duty to fulfill, said Brajanath. Well, that's a very wonderful submissive mood that Brajanath is demonstrating. You are my Shiksha Guru. I will come tomorrow evening and take instruction from you on Dasmula. Just a few moments ago, Brajanath was thinking I should come more often. Now he's saying I'm going to come tomorrow. So you see, each step of the way, his enthusiasm is increasing. Brajanath then offered Dandavat pranams to Babaji Mahashai, who embraced him with great affection. This is important. We have this expression of association. It's swajatiya, the same mood. And then snigdha, which means with affection. That affectionate mood must be there from that person that you're accepting shiksha from. If there's no affection, nothing's going to reach the heart. There must be confidence in that affection. Absolute confidence that this person has my highest well-being at heart. If that person is envious and you're suspicious that actually he has some ulterior motive, that is not a healthy relationship, obviously, right? That has to be really clear. That sambandha, for that sambandha to develop. Brajanath then offered Dandavat pranams to Babaji Mahashai, who embraced him with great affection. My son, said Babaji, you have purified this Brahmin lineage. It will give me great pleasure if you come tomorrow evening. So Babaji is congratulating Brajanath for purifying his own, Brajanath's Brahmin lineage. Brajanath is a very Paka Brahmin. Raghunath Das Babaji is also Brahmin, but Brajanath was very much absorbed in that abhiman, that identity of being a Brahmin. Raghunath Das is not absorbed in that identity of being a Brahmin, even though he is materially a Brahmin. Thus ends the 12th chapter of Jaiva Dharma. So how wonderful is Bhaktivinoda Thakur, allowing us to glorify his great servant, Narottam das Thakur, today, as well as conclude our 12th chapter of Jaiva Dharma. So on Monday, we can approach this 13th chapter, which is the beginning of the Dasmula, the Abhideya section. And this we can hear so many times. I've recently just gone through this, but we can again I've gone through it a number of times, but every single time, as I've shared with you, that I personally go through it, I feel like I've never read it before. So if anyone else feels the same way, that's good. So it can do nothing except assist and strengthen our progress to refresh these truths, to make this platform very steady and very firm and strong. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Jaiva Dharma ki jai, Srila Narottam das Thakur ki jai, Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Rama Ramo, Hare Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Narottam das Thakur ki jai, Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol, Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Bevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha.